Hello, this is Carl Munson with the Good Morning Portugal live stream podcast and YouTube channel. I'm delighted to have David Thomas with me from the Safe Communities Portugal. Good morning to you, David.
Good morning, Carl.
And I'm glad you're here with me to go through the latest updates. Things are changing at quite a pace here in Portugal at the moment. But first of all, maybe if you could set the scene for us and let us know what Safe Communities Portugal is about and how you're helping people.
Yes, I mean, we formed the association in 2012. And at the start of the association, it was because of the problems. We had some crime problems in the Algarve. So we worked with the police and with the civil government in trying to engage the police with the public and allowing the public to understand a little bit more about the work of the police and ways that we can help.
Okay, and it's continued since then, clearly.
Oh, very much so. And whereas we were Safe Communities Algarve to start with, as our services expanded, we became Safe Communities Portugal, and now we look at things like also cybercrime and civil protection, particularly prevention of rural fires, for instance.
Excellent. Okay, and the people are using the word unprecedented. This is, would you consider this a once-in-a-generation event phenomenon? What's happening with the coronavirus?
I wouldn't describe it as once in a generation. I mean, obviously we had SARS in 2002. And I was in Hong Kong, in the police, in fact, dealing with the SARS outbreak. But for many people, it will be unprecedented. The younger generation and countries perhaps who didn't experience SARS, like, for instance, Portugal. But now, of course, people are. So, yes, it is unprecedented in that respect.
Okay, so let's go to your fine website now, where you are keeping people informed. Thank you. If I could give my own personal thanks to you for what you're doing there. It's a real lifeline. It's a really clear source of information, and you're bringing the updates as they occur from the government. Should we kind of read through this together? And if you want to chip in with any particular things that you think, or add to something that you think is especially important and useful at the moment, please do that. Yes. This is the update for 0800 this morning, 13th of March, Friday the 13th of March. António Costa, the PM, appealed this Thursday, that's yesterday, to the sense of community, which is an amazing thing in Portugal, I have to say, to face COVID-19, and confirmed several preventative measures. The Prime Minister made a communication to the country this Thursday, yesterday, to announce not only the closing of schools, but also several preventive measures, among them the temporary closing of nightclubs and similar establishments, and the conditioning of the capacity of restaurants and shopping centres in Portugal. In the package of measures, he announced, highlighted the elderly, a vulnerable population, therefore necessary to have a concern for our parents and grandparents. And this is the thing, David, isn't it, about the sense of community here and how we might reach out and not just think about ourselves, but reach out to other people.
I think this is a really important point, and this is the whole essence of the thing. And, you know, he went on to say, the Prime Minister, that the biggest responsibility of each one of us is to take care of the other. So not just take care of yourself, but take care of the other people as well. And, you know, a good example of this, you know, there's been some reports of panic buying in shops. You know, this is very selfish. And yes, you know, you may benefit yourself, but what will be the effect on others? So everybody needs to think about this very, very carefully, how we look after people, particularly parents and more vulnerable people as well.
Excellent. Okay. And as you say there, addressing the country, António Costa said that this is one of those moments in which we live and we have to feel what a life in community is, sharing life in common. The biggest responsibility of each one of us is to take care of the other, as you said there, David, he underlined. The Council of Ministers will meet this evening to decide on further measures to contain and prevent the new coronavirus in Portugal. Measures as follows currently, and this is a big change. Schools, daycare centres and universities will suspend all classroom teaching and non-teaching activities in schools at all levels of education as of Monday. That's next Monday, 16th, to at least April the 9th, as the measure covers all levels of education, said the Prime Minister. On that day, the government reevaluates, this is on April the 9th, or reevaluate whether it reopens educational establishments. However, it should be noted that António Costa said there would be face-to-face activities, which may indicate that schools have the possibility to continue with their teaching activities in another way. I suppose maybe like we're doing here, David, online teaching and that sort of thing.
I mean, we spoke to some international schools yesterday, and those schools who have taken a break, basically the students have tablets, they work from home, and that's as it should be, and that's what they're encouraging people to do. And in case of in case of children, for instance, not to go out on the beach into partying and things like this. It's not a holiday. It is a break from activities in the classroom. And I think that's very important to get that message across.
Excellent, because we did see in Lisbon, didn't we? The first day of some school closures in Lisbon, everyone was down on the Costa Caparica in some strange quarantine, everybody on the beach in the sun. And I think the government will take a slightly different view of that. And you were saying earlier on, before we came on air, that in Portugal, people are likely to be very compliant with the government as a culture.
It's very, very difficult to compare this with other cultures, but generally people, I think, will, generally speaking, respect the government is well reasoned. Now, I think the Prime Minister made a particularly important point. What he said was that all the decisions will be made based on experts, medical experts. In other words, he's not looking at no political advantages, and and I think that was very, very clear. And when you say irrational stuff, people think, yes, okay, it is based on I think it gets more respect and probably more compliance. And of course,
yeah, excellent. Okay, so second point, regarding the elderly, the Prime Minister announced that the limitations on visits to nursing homes are extended to the entire country, which I think is a great move. 3, ban on disembarkation of cruises, except for residents. Those who arrive from cruises cannot disembark in Portugal. They're only allowed to refuel. Closure of nightclubs for now, with no date scheduled for reopening. Discos and similar establishments are closed. 5, the capacity of catering establishments is reduced by 1/3 in order to have more space between tables, thus reducing the risk of contagion. And 6, the capacity of shopping centres and public services limited, numbers restricted. And the restrictions, the footnote there, can also be created for access to public services, namely by requiring queues to be formed outside and not inside waiting areas. So I see there we're following an Italian model really there, aren't we? The precedents that have been set in Italy.
I think these are sensible it's basically limiting concentration and keeping more social distancing between people. Logically, that makes sense, and advice that was given by experts, some time ago, to keep a social space and particularly if you see people who've got colds and looking unwell, for instance. So it follows that.
Sure, and this is new, isn't it? I know you're updating constantly and keeping up to date with what's being put up by the government. Compensation measures. This will become as a great relief, I think, to some people. The income support for workers who have to stay at home to care for children under the age of 12. Partial compensation support for those who have to stay in isolation, including green receipts. There will be a special mechanism that ensures partial remuneration in conjunction with employers in order to mitigate the negative impact of household income, said the Prime Minister. Is this, with your experience of how the expat community works with social security, social services, etc., do people need to go to the Social Security office to initiate this if they feel that's what's required?
The details of that haven't been announced yet, so I can't answer that question. I think we will expect details to be announced today, but last night it was announcement. So basically, this is just an overview, and we will expect more details later on today.
Okay, thanks, David. Special measures also for health professionals, security forces and emergency services. António Costa reminded that as these professionals are essential at this moment, there will be special measures for those who have children. Details, as you were saying, this is being sort of furnished as we go, isn't it? He added, we have to assume that this pandemic on the European continent and in Portugal has not yet reached its peak, is in the evolution stage. It is very likely that in the coming weeks, more patients will be contaminated, perhaps with more consequences for your health, and that this outbreak may be more lasting than we initially estimated, acknowledged António Costa. So, yeah, I think our line's a little bit, is breaking up a little bit. But what I'll just say is that I think it's a really good idea to stay in touch with the source of information that's coming from safecommunitiesportugal.com, which I will pop in the as a comment now so you can see that. David, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And yeah, good luck and stay well down there in the Algarve.
Yeah, and you as well, Carl. thank you very much for having us on your program.
Okay, take care and bye for now. Okay, thank you very much there to David Thomas for Safe Communities Portugal. Unfortunately, not a brilliant line and breaking up a little bit. I'll just conclude now, just to keep this brief. We're all busy we're self-isolating, preparing whatever we're doing, and we have busy lives to lead. So I won't keep you too long. Just want to share with you the overall picture. Just reiterate what's going on in Portugal at the moment as well. Let's have a look on the Worldometer. Info total cases around the world 134,930, current deaths just under 5,000 deaths, but the great figure there, recoveries over 70,000 recoveries, and great news from Portugal as well that one of the cases in Portugal, and that's currently, if we scroll down here, we can see that the current level of cases in Portugal is 78. Still one person in a serious and critical condition, but one recovery in Portugal as well, which is really good news. So thank you very much for joining me. We'll be reporting to you as and when we can with useful information, and do stay in touch via the Stay Positive Portugal group as well, where I will heed David's advice there to just keep an eye on what's coming on and just be prudent and wise about the sort of information that's being shared across social media. So thank you very much. Take care and bye for now.